Hi folks, how you doing? So today is the 22nd of August 2022, and once again here I'm in downtown Sydney to do another Bible video for you guys. The video that I'm going to be doing today is actually a follow-up video from the one that I did yesterday. I'm not actually sure whether you understood anything that I said on that video because the camera was shaking a little bit as I was driving, and because there was a lot of noise, car noise, from the street and things like that. Maybe the video wasn't all that great, so I wanted to do a follow-up video here. But I just wanted to ask you guys: have you ever, or do you ever think how the three remaining feasts of Jesus are going to be fulfilled? In other words, Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, or the Feast of Atonement, and the last one being, of course, Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, suppose that some of you people think that the rapture of the church can happen at any moment, and that the rapture of the church, let's just, for argument's sake, happens tomorrow. Now, where do you fit in the three remaining feasts that Lord Jesus has to fulfill? Because they have to be fulfilled. So, probably the most obvious answer will be when we come back with Jesus for the millennial reign, or the 1,000 year period reign, if you like. But then, obviously, this will be the most obvious answer. But then, if the rapture of the church doesn't happen, tomorrow, or even for that matter, in the next 6 weeks at Yom Teruah, how do we fit these three? How do we fit in these three remaining feasts, if you like? So I wonder if you people in general think about all these things. Now, my view is that I've been saying for quite a while now, but recently, in the last week or so, I've been saying that I don't think that the rapture of the church is going to happen this year, Yom Teruah, 6 weeks from now, in September 25th to 27th. And I say this because, for one, you guys know that I've been teaching 4 Bible prophecies that are impending and in front before the rapture of the church, as in Isaiah 17.1, Jeremiah 49, or the Elam Bible prophecy, Jeremiah 49, 34 to 39, the Ezekiel word 38, 39, and Daniel 9:27, or Isaiah 28, 15, the signing of the covenant. These 4 major Bible prophecies are actually Israel's timetable that will trigger the rapture of the church, and Israel hasn't fulfilled not one yet. So, if you agree with my teaching, then I just don't think that Israel has enough time now to fulfill these 4. It's only but a short period of time. Perhaps Israel could maybe fulfill 1 or 2, but 4 highly doubtful now. And so and also because recently in the last 3 or 4 days, Turkey has put a spanner in the works. Regarding the rapture of the church, or actually, I think that Turkey is actually going to be delaying the rapture of the church because now that they have signed or tied a knot, with diplomatic relationships with Israel. It's not like Turkey in 6 weeks from now is actually going to be ripping up these diplomatic ties with Israel. So, and we know that Turkey is going to be one of the main partners alongside Iran and Russia for this great northern war. In other words, Ezekiel 38, 39. So I think that this is going to delay the rapture of the church somewhat. I wonder what you guys think of this, but in my view, like I just said, Turkey isn't going to rip up this political agreement with Israel six weeks from now. So not that the rapture of the church now is going to be delayed somewhat. How long, I don't know, but it's not going to happen as soon as most Bible scholars are thinking, including myself. I think this is going to be a little bit longer now. And so this actually leads me to believe that, like I was saying in my last video, that in my view, when I think about how Jesus can fulfill, the remaining 3 feasts, I think that because I don't think the rapture of the church is going to happen 6 weeks from now, in my view, when the rapture of the church does happen, I think this is going to be the fulfillment of the Feast of Trumpets, or Yom Teruah, if you like, Because, when Paul talks about at the last trump, I'm actually even thinking that God is actually celebrating Yom Teruah in heaven, and then at the last trump, God will send Jesus to pick us up at the rapture of the church. That's what I'm kind of like believing or starting to believe from now moving forward. And because I'm trying to think, we have to fit this last three remaining feast somehow. We got to work through all of this. We can't just ignore it and bury our heads in the sand. We got to make sense of all this, like all the impending infant Bible prophecies that we have between now and also, regarding the book of Revelation. They all have to work together seamlessly, in this dispensation of the church age, also in the Tribulation and the Millennium Kingdom, because otherwise, if this doesn't work smoothly, it's gonna be a big mess. We gotta do a lot of thinking, people. Now, and this obviously also leads me to believe that the fulfillment of atonement or Yom Kippur is actually going to be done by Jesus actually sending the two witnesses, Moses and Elijah, and also the angel the angel in the book of Revelation to preach the everlasting gospel, because Jesus cannot come down during the tribulation period, because he's actually opening up the seals in heaven and dishing out God's wrath. So Jesus is going to be busy during the trib. And so have you folks ever asked yourself this question, how can Jesus fulfill the feast of Yom Kippur or atonement? I think this is an important question that we need to ask ourselves. If the rapture of the church was to happen at any moment, can Jesus actually come down from heaven to earth during the trip to fulfill atonement? No, he's not going to be able to. It's impossible. He's opening up the seals. So, and also regarding the Feast of Tabernacles, I think there will be fulfillment when we come with Jesus for the 1,000 year millennial reign. This is what I'm kind of like started to think now, because I just don't think that the rapture of the church is going to happen during Yom Teruah 6 weeks from now in late September. So I'm just thinking that the only possible solution of this is going to be, Yom Teruah will be when Jesus comes for the rapture. Yom Kippur will be the two witnesses together with the angel preaching the everlasting gospel. And the tabernacles will be when we come back with Jesus for the Millennium Kingdom. That's my view on it. But obviously, I'm saying this if we're still here and the rapture of the church doesn't happen 6 weeks from now. So because we all got to think about these things, how they can be fulfilled, the last three feasts. And well, if the rapture then does happen at any moment, then which I don't think it will, then obviously when we come back with Jesus for the Millennium Kingdom, that's when Jesus will fulfill those three remaining feasts. That's my view on things. So, I actually don't have the belief. A lot of Bible scholars think that that the Feast of Trumpets need to be fulfilled precisely during Yom Teruah. But I don't believe so, because we are not under the law anymore. If you read the book of Galatians, from Galatians 3:19 to Galatians 3:29, it clearly says that, when Jesus came, he came to fulfill the law, and we are no longer under the law. And so Israel now is no longer under the law, in which they have to fulfill, the 7-year agricultural cycle under the law. That has been abolished now when Jesus came 2,000 years ago. And so I don't believe that Jesus necessarily has to fulfill the Feast of Trumpets or Yom Teruah on his actual Yom Teruah, 2-day event, not for that matter, atonement and tabernacles, So, we are not living under the law anymore. So I highly encourage Bible scholars to read, the book of Galatians from 3:19 to 3:29. So so this is my view on things. I think all of us need to think about how we can, fit this true reminding feast of Jesus. And perhaps just to wrap up, what I will say is that I don't believe that the rapture of the church is going to happen 6 weeks from now. And so the true reminding feast, like I said, will be when Jesus comes for the rapture. That will be Yom Teruah. The atonement will be done during the tree with the two witnesses and the gospel preaching the everlasting, and the archangel preaching the everlasting gospel, and the Millennium Kingdom will be done when we come back with Jesus. That's my view on things. So I just don't believe that the rapture of the church can happen at any moment. I used to have belief, perhaps about 8 or 9 months ago, and still I started thinking, gee whiz, surely we should have had the rapture of the church by now, and something isn't adding up, And I started studying the Bible, and I asked God and the Holy Spirit to help me, and Jesus as well. And lo and behold, God taught me, that there are impending infant Bible prophecies before the rapture of the church. That's why I did that video on handing over to you the keys to the rapture of the church. So and I believe that we need to fulfill this much of all, like I said about my video, because if we don't fulfill these 4 much about prophecies, then the tribulation period is going to look messy, and it's not going to make any sense at all, because in order to accommodate Isaiah 17.1, the 11 Bible prophecy in Jeremiah 49, and the Ezekiel war, it will mean that the tribulation period will have to be longer than the 7 years that has been prophesied. We know it's 1260 plus 1260, because you need timing to accommodate all these Bible prophecies, and so it's going to get longer than 7 years, and it just wouldn't make sense at all. And I don't believe in a gap theory. No gap theory, because as soon as Jesus comes for the rapture of the church, bang, we're straight into the tribulation period, because God is going to send the 2 witnesses. The Antichrist is going to rock up. Jesus is going to start opening up the seals. So there's no such thing as a gap theory. So, unless we fulfill these 4 Bible prophecies, the tribulation period it's not gonna add up, no matter which way you want to look at it. Because once the trib happens, we know by Bible prophecy that it says that God needs to glorify Himself under Ezekiel 38:39, and how can God glorify Himself whilst at the same time Jesus is opening up the seals? We got the 2 witnesses here, and God is allowing the Antichrist to rule for the 7-year period. It just doesn't add up, no matter which way you want to look at it. And you can't put Ezekiel or Jeremiah or Isaiah during the Millennium Kingdom, because it doesn't add up either, because when we come back with Jesus, we're going to have the Battle of Armageddon. And what do you do with these prophecies then if at the Battle of Armageddon, God practically wipes out all these nations that have come against the nation of Israel, and then God is going to have the judgment of the sheep and the goats? It just wouldn't add up, no matter how you want to look at it. And so unless you have these 4 Bible prophecies fulfilled now before the rapture of the church, the tribulation period and the millennial kingdom is going to look very, very messy, and out of sync with Bible prophecy, completely out of sync. It just wouldn't add up at all, because that last Gog and Magog war at the end of the millennial kingdom is going to be when Jesus lets loose the devil for a season, perhaps a year, and then He's going to deceive all the nations, and then God is going to rain fire from heaven and wipe them all out. So, I think people that we need to think about Bible prophecies at a deeper level, and try and analyze them where we can fit them into this dispensation of the church age, also the tribulation period as well, and the millennial kingdom. These 3 dispensations are very important, so that everything lines up like a very smooth transition, and it looks as if everything is going to work out quite smoothly. We can't just have a complete mess or a complete train wreck, with Bible prophecies, during the trib or the millennial kingdom, just because we want to get out of here at the rapture of the church, and we don't really care what happens when we get out of here. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that with God, because don't forget that people will also get saved during the trib, like God is a God of love, and a God of order. He's not going to make a meal out of all this, like we Bible scholars, we are the ones making the meal out of all this, making a mess out of all these Bible prophecies, but not me. I don't put myself in that league anymore because I learn better. And I used to be one of those people that used to say that the rapture of the church could occur any moment because I used to believe Bible scholars and I was in a transition period learning about the Bible. And so once I learned enough and I asked God also to help me through the power of the Holy Spirit to understand, Bible prophecies that are impending in front before the rapture of the church, my eyes were open. And now when I read the Bible now, it's like crystal clear to me, I can decipher prophecies real easy. My love for God and my faith for God has grown immensely. And if I can give you one tip to you guys, is that if you guys get into any kind of trouble, if you love God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul, and you have full trust in Him, your prayers will be answered immediately, just about immediately. I know that it works for me. So this is the secret. If you want God to help you out right away with any kind of problems, fulfill then Jesus' commandment. The first commandment is to love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and have faith in Him. If you do those two things, you watch, you start praying on anything that you need, and God will fulfill your prayers. So that's the secret to God answering your prayers quickly and swiftly. You got to learn to love Him a lot, love Him with everything you got, your mind, all your soul, all your heart, and have faith, and you watch. So I wanted to say this to edify the church. So look, I'm someone that likes to think forward. I like to be ahead, I like to know what's going to happen between now and the rapture of the church. And in my view, I can't just see the rapture of the church happening in the next 6 weeks. And even for that matter, perhaps even this year, like we are already in, almost just about 9 months into this year. And, no rapture of the church. A lot of Bible scholars actually were saying that, hey, 2021 for sure. I was actually one of them. And then here we are, 3 quarters into 2022, and Turkey just signed this deal with Israel, that could perhaps delay this Ezekiel 38-39 war, and thus lengthen the delay of the rapture of the church, because don't forget that, Turkey is one of these, one of 3 big nations that are going to come in the Ezekiel 38-39 war alongside Russia and Iran. So, like I just said, we can't make a meal out of all these Bible prophecies. They all got to sink in all the way here at the back end. The church is going into the Tribulation and the Millennium Kingdom. Everything has to work smoothly. You got to think about this in a way that everything sinks in and works really well within these 3 dispensations. So we really have to think, folks, about all this. Like I said before, I just don't think that the rapture is going to happen in the next 6 weeks. And in my view, Jesus doesn't have to fulfill Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets, specifically on Yom Teruah, because we are no longer under the law. We are on the dispensation of the church age. So that's my view on it. So I just wanted to edify the church in this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.